on your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Prez Show.
Hey, here we go, 33 minutes after the hour. How about it? On a Thursday morning, July 3rd. I've never seen anything like this. People are jumping the gun on July 4th because of Hurricane Arthur heading up the coast, the East Coast at any rate, and projected to hit North Carolina, the Outer Banks, which sticks out there anyhow. They always get hit by the hurricanes. Projected to hit there sometime tomorrow morning. All up and down the East Coast, they're changing their plans. The city of Boston has officially decided they're celebrating July 4th today, July 3rd. Well, that's where the Independence Day started, so they can do whatever the hell they wanted, right? Brad Woodhouse is here from American Bridge with us for this next half an hour. Hello, Brad. Great to see you.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Happy almost 4th.
Or 4th if you're in Boston.
4th, that's right. Happy 4th. We'll just call this next period of time the 4th.
Peter and I were wondering, what happens with all those people who have the 4th off but not the 3rd off? Do they now have the 3rd off, right? Because if they have all these events and these festivities and they moved them all to today,
right.
Somebody's got to show up.
Well, that's right. I mean, you would think with the storm coming, I think bosses will be flexible, you would think.
If you're listening to the show in Boston, you have our permission to just not go to work today. All right? Like,
that's the power of radio, right? I mean,
tell them the Bill Prez Show said not to come into work today. And you can have the day off. You're welcome.
Well, why stop at Boston?
Yeah.
I think if you're anywhere
in
where
the Eastern Time Zone.
First of all, everyone
Eastern Time Zone.
Everyone should toast Arthur with a drink. And somebody has called this Hurricane Dudley Moore, right? I mean, that is because I don't remember there being an Arthur hurricane before, so it's a real opportunity. I mean, people do tend to toast these things a little bit, maybe a little bit too much.
Right? Yeah. No,
are you? I think Bill's mixing a martini now.
I know, I'm mixing my martini. It does always look like a martini shaker. It's just a thermos with iced tea in it. Right. All right. So
hey, that's good news.
So, there it is. Let's have the latest job numbers. Let's start right there.
Latest job numbers out right now. 288,000 jobs were created last month. That means the unemployment rate falls to 6.1%. That's
from 6.3, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Whoa. Brad, I forget how many months. I won't hold you to it if you don't remember either. But this is several months where we've had positive job growth and several over 5 or 6, I think now, over 200.
Over 200,000. I don't have the number in front of me, but we have had
Peter
something
can find it while we're talking.
We've had something like 4.5 years of positive job growth. Private sector job growth. We've obviously we've seen a reduction in jobs in the government sector, and with the Republicans doing what they've been doing. But this is tremendous, and I think there was a lot of people on the right in particular jumping all over the GDP numbers for the first quarter, but the job numbers I think have belied what people are trying to take out of the GDP, which clearly was, and certainly probably the job numbers have been affected by this, but the winter that we had that just shut down so much commerce and activity. I mean, I'm not an economist. I don't even want to play one on the radio, but I do think that you'll see the GDP numbers for the second quarter turn around, and I think these job numbers wouldn't be where they are if the economy was in as bad a shape as the Republicans seem to hope it is for political reasons.
The consensus is a very, very good job numbers report. One thing that people are really grabbing onto here: long-term unemployed, those that have been without a job for over 27 weeks. That fell 293,000, so it's down to 3.1 million, which is still a lot, but that's down 1.2 million since last year.
Yeah.
So that the long-term unemployment is also, we're seeing that.
Well, I think that's a real sign that the economy is beginning to chug along, because people that have found it hard to find work are increasingly finding work. But let me tell you this, Bill. This, to me, does not – 6.1% is unacceptably high. I mean, we want to see it continue to fall. And I don't think that this should be an opportunity for Republicans to say, well, see, we don't need to deal with this unemployment insurance extension because, as you said, it's dropped dramatically, but there's still a large percentage of the unemployed are in the long-term unemployed category. They lost, many of them lost their benefits because Republicans wouldn't extend them at the end of last year. We're still fighting on the Hill. Jack Reed is still fighting on the Hill. Sandy Levin in the House is still fighting on the Hill, as is Leader Pelosi and all the Democrats and the president to get that extension done. It'd be good for the economy.
You got to put this in context. 288,000 is huge, particularly when you remember in January 2009 we were losing 800,000
jobs.
800,000 jobs a month.
One other quick nugget from this report. You know, they always do the revisions from the past couple months, and they adjust it to something a little more realistic. All of the revisions are up, including April, originally reported at 282,000. They've revised that to 304,000 jobs added in April, which is monster.
Yeah,
that's a big report.
That's a big number.
So, you know, this is some good news for the president. And
here's what I want. While we're on the air, look for what the Republican criticism is in this, because it's predictable that no matter what the number is, no what the rate is, they'll find something wrong with it. It'd be interesting if some of them just maybe lie low and don't issue statements, but the RNC in particular always finds something bad to say. This is something that all Americans should celebrate. I understand Republicans don't think it's good for them politically, but you know, getting people back to work is something every American should celebrate. But Republicans won't.
So some good news for President Obama this morning, and God knows he needs some good news. It's been a rocky road lately with the VA and all the problems there. Iraq, kind of falling apart. John Boehner says he's going to sue him. Team USA loses in the World Cup, and then yesterday...
Well, don't put that on the president.
No, I won't. But I mean, bad news in the sense of... He wanted them to win, obviously. Right. We all did. And then yesterday he wakes up and there's this Quinnipiac University poll that says 33% of Americans say he is the worst president since World War II. 69 years, 12 presidents, that he is rated the worst, 33%. What's going on?
Well, I mean, look, it's a dumb question to ask. I mean, look, it's fine. Ask it, whatever you want to do. But I mean, of course, but don't in a poll where a quarter of your sample or more are Tea Partiers and half your sample is, at least a strong plurality of your sample is Republicans. Of course, they're going to say that. I mean, they have exhibited this hatred for the president since, the day he beat John McCain, if not, earlier. They've exhibited this hatred for him. They've tried to delegitimize him. They're talking impeachment. Boehner is suing the president, I think. You can look at it one of two ways. Either he's trying to hold off the crazies who want impeachment, or it's a precursor to impeachment. And so, of course, they're going to respond with that type of result in that poll. It is utterly meaningless.
Well, first of all, it is factually not true.
Right.
I mean, if you want to talk about a Democrat, Jimmy Carter, in terms of governance and what they was able to get done, great guy, but didn't accomplish a lot as president.
Right.
And then look at Richard Nixon.
Right.
And even look at Ronald Reagan. I mean, his presidency, they keep saying, he walked on water. He didn't.
Right. He didn't. And
drove the country in the poorhouse, among other things.
It's frustrating.
So factually not true. But I found most interesting is at the very same period in his presidency, with 2 years to go, they did the identical poll, identical question under George W. Bush. And guess who was then rated the worst president since World War II?
I'm assuming George W. Bush.
George W. Bush.
Right.
By the same percentage. Well, Obama's 33, he was 34.
Right.
So it's sort of like, at this time, we are so fickle as a populace, right, that you sort of get tired of the guy who's in there and you blame everything on the guy who's in there and you're already thinking about who's next.
Well, that's true, and it's partisan. I mean, it's just
totally
clearly clearly partisan. I mean, so it's it's headlines are fun and and people like to report these things. I just think it's it's just a stupid parlor game. I mean,
so we hope the president doesn't.
I hope he doesn't.
I hope he doesn't take it too seriously.
I assure you, he's not taking. He's not paying any. I think he's paying a lot more attention to the jobs report than he is the Quinnipiac poll.
That's sort of the ultimate poll.
It really is. I mean,
in terms of it shows what it really shows. I think is confidence in the economy, confidence in the recovery.
Right.
Where for a while there was always this question about, are we going to slip back?
Right.
Are we going to double dip? Nobody's saying that anymore.
Well, and
it's all forward.
Well, and that's so and that's the interesting thing. So I got all these. I'm sure as you do, these trolls on Twitter that were hammering me over the GDP report.
Yeah,
but the interesting thing about the GDP report that showed the economy contracting in the first quarter was Wall Street didn't react to it. That they knew it for what it is. That the fundamentals of the I don't want to sound like John McCain here, so I'm going to be back up. But the economy is strong. The recovery is strong. That winter was a little unprecedented in terms of what it did to the economy, and they didn't react negatively to the GDP report. But I predict they'll act positively to this jobs report.
Yeah, and it has been steady, as you pointed out,
right.
steady, up. Maybe not as fast as we want, but steady in the right direction here. Brad Woodhouse with the good news on today's jobs report, and we're just discounting that Quinnipiac poll. I hope you do too. 866-55-PRESS is our toll-free number. We'll be right back here on the Bill Press Show, Thursday morning.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on Talker TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
12 minutes now before the top of the hour. Kind of quiet here in Washington because Congress is out of town. In fact, the president has a very light schedule today at the White House, sort of easing into the 4th of July celebration. We do so with our good friend Brad Woodhouse, president of American Bridge, in studio with us. Talking about, among other things, the latest job numbers, 288,000 new private sector jobs created in the month of June.
Yes.
And the unemployment rate ticking down from 6.3 to 6.1%.
The lowest it's been since September of 2008. So the lowest of the Obama presidency, and the lowest going back into the last few months of the Bush presidency.
Right.
So.
Brad, before we move on, let's say a quick hello here to Richard out in Chicago on the great WCPT. Hey, Richard, good morning.
Kind of Chicago. I'm in one of the red suburbs, but
okay.
I just wanted you guys to hear that not all Republicans dislike this president. I like the very pragmatic way that he handles his business. And those kind of polls, I mean, you're talking to probably people that are under 30, which I'm a little older than 30, but they don't know who. If you ask who was the president before George W. Bush, they'll probably say Abraham Lincoln.
You are you are so right. Absolutely. Go ahead, Richard. Yeah.
Ariana Grande. I mean, they're not going to have. They're not going to have a. I'm sorry, young people, but you just don't seem to be involved or even care about what happened before your MacBook. So don't worry about those stupid polls. None of us mature people. And young people, you will all be 30 someday. So let's face it, that Quinnipiac poll was, not reality. He's not a bad president. I did not vote for him because I have a certain political and social view of life. But he's still a fine man, and we'll all make it through this, Bill. You and I used to watch you back in L.A. on WABC.
Oh my God, KABC. Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. Hey, Richard, so good to hear from you. And give us a call. Give us a call again.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah, please.
That is like so heartening and refreshing. It's like what you would love to hear from Republican political leaders. I mean, instead of fomenting this, this angst and anger in their constituents.
Instead of a John Boehner, we can't trust him to enforce the law.
It's unbelievable.
Right?
It's unbelievable that you would say that about a U.S. president. If someone said that about a Republican president, Republicans would hit the roof.
You'd be branded as a traitor.
You'd be branded as a traitor. There's a lack of respect towards this president from Republican leaders. I'm so glad to hear from a Republican, someone who didn't vote for the president, who said, "You know what? I don't feel that way."
And by the way, I appreciate that on his part. I mean, look. Right, but it reminds me what Rich was saying about the poll and the young people. Okay, so if we could just, Jimmy Kimmel was having some fun with the World Cup. So he has a little feature called Lie Witness News. In fact, Richard mentioned I started on KABC in L.A.
Right.
Eyewitness News. So for his Lie Witness News segment, right after the World Cup, he went out on Hollywood Boulevard, had his reporter, Hollywood Boulevard in L.A., and asked him about what they thought about the World Cup, particularly the performance of Landon Donovan, who was scrubbed from the team, never even played.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
Here's the reaction he got on the street, Hollywood Boulevard.
What is the best play you've seen from Landon Donovan in the World Cup this year?
When he played against Portugal. And that was a surprise when I saw that 2-1.
And the tricycle kick he did at the end, or
it was. I was like, even I cried too.
You cried?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
I cried at the you call it a tricycle kick.
Yeah, he cried. It was so great. I cried. The guy wasn't even in the game. He didn't even go to Brazil. I mean,
that's the best.
To me, that typifies a lot of people, young and old.
Yeah.
The way they respond to polls.
Right. That's exactly right. They substitute their knowledge for actual knowledge, right? I mean,
they don't know what they're talking about. Right. I bet if you ask, unfortunately, too many Americans, as Richard said, who was the president before Barack Obama, or like two before Obama, right? Or even start.
Who was the president before Bill Clinton? People would probably. Younger people would really scratch their heads on that one, I think. So,
and people, we have this convenient case of amnesia.
Right.
I think you forget about Richard Nixon. Oh my God! Right. Now suddenly, you forget about anyhow all the different Iran Contra and all that stuff.
Oh, I know it.
Unbelievable. Big plans for the 4th?
Well, I'm a bachelor. As I mentioned to y'all, my wife and kids are out of town, so we'll see what the weather's like here. Maybe take in another Nats game, by the way. 5 in a row.
I know.
They got Bryce Harper back.
I know.
Worth is hitting again.
Yeah.
The pitching, the bullpen, I mean, the defense. It's all coming together. Watch out, Braves. Watch out, Braves.
That's the real test, too. All right. However you do it, have a great one. Thanks, Brad, for coming in.
Both to you, too.
All right. And I'll be back with a quick parting shot.